Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves me, you, and anyone else out there to go make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Putting all this together, you get the mindset, the method, the philosophy, the show, the book, known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic is mental cardio. Cardiovascular exercise, everyone's familiar with that, right? Riding a bike, doing some step aerobics, running, swimming, biking, jogging. I don't know what else there is. Any other kind of cardio exercise, everyone understands what that is, right? Today we're talking about doing the mental version of cardiovascular exercise. So this is cardio for the mind. If you think about the effects that cardio has on your body, it strengthens your heart. It keeps your body, limber. It gets you moving so that your body doesn't fall apart because you're actively using it. So it prevents or it staves off any type of muscle atrophy because you're actually utilizing muscles. Anything that you don't use, you lose. So the same things that cardio does for your body, and there's a bunch of other things that it does. The cardio we're going to talk about here today is going to do these things for your mind. It's going to strengthen your thoughts. It's going to strengthen the way that you see yourself. It's going to strengthen the way that your mind performs. And we know that the mind controls the body, and the mind produces the thoughts that we have, conscious and unconscious. The mind unconsciously controls all of our involuntary actions, like our digestion, our breathing, our heart's beating, blood flow. All of those things are controlled by our mind. If our mind stops working, all of those things stop working because it is unconscious, but there is something controlling it. It's just not something that we have to think about actively. So we want to make sure that our mind is in really good shape. Same way that we make sure our heart's in shape by doing cardio, we got to pay the same amount of attention to our minds. Now, mental cardio was the first chapter of my book, Work on Your Game. And if you have not read my book, Work on Your Game, I suggest you go to workonyourgamebook.com, where you can get not only the book, but a bunch of bonuses in that offer that will, maybe if you already got the book, you might buy it again just to get the bonuses that I'm offering there at workonyourgamebook.com. But I made mental cardio the first chapter of Work on Your Game because being in shape is the basis for performing at a higher level. In episode 826, the topic was getting and staying in what we call game shape. In sports, we know that game shape means not just having big muscles and being able to do certain functions for your sport. It means being in a condition where you're ready to play in a full game of your sport right now. And being in shape and being in game shape are two different things. For those of you who did not know, athletes out there, you should know this. Coaches out there, I'm sure you know this because you probably have dealt with some athletes who were in shape and they looked good, but then you tested to see if they were in game shape and they were far from it. So there's a difference between the two. Today's topic is about doing this with the mind, but not the body, getting your mind into game shape. Physical cardio, it doesn't need a whole lot of explanation. I probably will never do an episode on why you need to do physical cardio. I'm gonna never say never, but it's highly unlikely I would ever do an episode on that simply because everyone pretty much understands that you understand the value of physical cardio, right? Mental cardio is the same thing as physical cardio. The challenge with mental cardio, and the reason why I need to talk about it, is many people don't understand mental cardio as simply because we can't see our minds. We can't see what shape a person's mind is in so easily. We can readily see the shape that someone's body is in just by looking at them, just by watching them move, just by watching them play whatever sport they're playing or do whatever workout they're doing. It will be obvious within about 5 minutes what type of shape someone is in, generally speaking, physically. But mentally, it's kind of hard to tell what kind of shape another person is in because you have no idea what's going on there in their minds. And many of us ourselves don't know what kind of shape we are in mentally. And the basic reason is we can see our physical bodies. We can't see what's going on in our minds. But here's the great news for you. That right there, that challenge, that bridge that needs to be crossed, that few people understand how to cross, or few people maybe even understand the value of crossing that bridge. That's where I come in and solve that problem for you. So let's get right into it. Point number one. Here's the fundamental understanding that you must have. The topic again is how to do mental cardio today. This is not a one-time thing. Mental cardio is not a one-time thing. The same way Physical cardio is not a one-time thing. And if you think of everything that you know about physical cardio, those of you who regularly partake in cardio, you will understand these perfectly. And I'm going to draw the parallels between the mind and the body. And those of you who don't do physical cardio, you still will understand this very well, because if you don't do physical cardio on a regular basis, you feel guilty right now because you know you need to be doing it in some way, shape, or form to keep your body healthy. So everyone here, everyone's listening to this, you understand this on some level. Mental cardio must be done the same way physical cardio must be done, continuously, meaning that it never ends. I mean, it never comes a point where you can say, all right, I've done enough cardio in my life, I don't ever have to do it again. That point never comes. You must do it continuously, meaning it doesn't end, and you must do it consistently, meaning you're not doing it at just random times whenever you get around to it or whenever you feel like it, but you're doing it via some type of repeatable system. Is there anyone here who is in shape? Anyone here who would consider themselves to be in pretty good shape? Do you work out for 3 weeks? Did you work out for, let's say, for a 3-week period 6 years ago? And then you say, hey, you know what? I'm in pretty good shape. I don't ever have to do this again. I'm good. No, of course you didn't do that. You had to keep working out. If you're still in shape today, whenever you started working out, you're still working out now on some type of consistent basis. Also, are you a person, those of you who are in shape, or you consider yourself to be in shape, do you just work out whenever you remember to do so? Whenever you get around to it, whenever you feel like it? No, it's something that's on your calendar. You know, at this time on Monday, this time on Tuesday, this time Thursday, this time Saturday, you know exactly when you're working out, where you're working out. Often you know exactly what you're doing or who's going to be telling you what you're doing, and they're going to know what you're doing. Or even better, you don't even need a calendar. Some of you work out consistently enough, often enough that you don't have to write it down. It's not on your calendar. You don't even have to put it in your schedule. You know, and everyone around you knows that at this time on these days, this person, being you, they're going to be at the gym. They're going to be outside riding their bike. They're going to be doing their workout, whatever it is that you do, right? Because it's part of your life. And it's the same thing that you would do with your physical cardio or your physical exercise. These are the same things that you need to be doing mentally. So I want you to just think to yourself right now, before we even get into how you're going to do the mental cardio, which I'm going to get into in the next point. Ask yourself, have you been doing this at all in any way when it comes to your mind? Are there any areas when it comes to that gray matter in between your ears that you are doing things continuously, meaning once you pick up on it, you never stop doing it, and at the same time consistently, meaning there's some type of system, some type of schedule, some type of habit that is in place that you're doing consistently that is helping you as far as the way that you think. Well, if you're listening to my words right now, you should be able to say, I'll listen to the Work on Your Game podcast. That's at least one thing. If you don't do anything else, at least you're doing that. If you read books, that's another thing. If you have anyone in your life with whom you have conversations and you all challenge each other, help each other as far as the way that you think mentally or with problems that you have or something that you have going on, that's another thing that you could be doing. Maybe you're only doing one of these things. You're at least doing one of them that you're listening to this Work on Your Game podcast. But when you are doing mental cardio, understand that these points that I'm going to be giving you coming up, you must be doing them on a consistent basis, and this never ends. So this is something that needs to be shoehorned, fit into your lifestyle. All right, this is not a program. All right, this is not a system. It is a program and it is a system, but programs and systems, eventually programs come to an end. All right, systems, some of them eventually come to a conclusion as well. This is something that's just going to be part of your lifestyle. You're going to adopt this into who you are as a person. You're going to be doing it all the time. It never ends. There's never a point where you don't retire out from doing this. All right, even your job, at one day, you'll probably stop doing your job, and maybe you'll live the golden years of your life, as they say, not doing that job. This right here, you're going to be doing forever. As long as you plan on your mind working in your favor and doing positive things for you and creating outcomes for you, working with you instead of against you, you're going to be doing these things. All right, understood? Good. Point number 2. Today's topic is mental cardio, understanding what it is and understanding why it is and how to actually do it. Number 2, take control. Here's what you do. Take control of your unconscious train of thoughts. This is the most important thing that you need to do for your mental cardiovascular health. Your unconscious train of thoughts are the thoughts that are going on in your head, even when you are not thinking about anything necessarily. You ever had someone ask you, what are you thinking about? And you say nothing. Or you ask another person the same question, they give you the same answer. Now, sometimes we're lying, and because we are thinking about something, we just don't want to talk about it. And other times we're actually telling the truth. I'm not thinking about anything. We are not always consciously thinking. And we don't need to be, because there's a part of our minds that is thinking on our behalf, even when we don't notice that it's doing it, even when we're not trying to have it do it, it just does it involuntarily. That's the subconscious mind. I wrote a whole workbook about this to help you take control of your subconscious mind, which I'll tell you about in a moment. Taking control of your unconscious train of thoughts is these thoughts going on even when you're not thinking about them. They're happening even while you are sleeping. Your subconscious mind is working. These unconscious thoughts, they occur much more often than your conscious thoughts. You could probably surmise that, even understanding that. Let's say if you're sleeping 7-8 hours a night, they're already up by 8 hours on your conscious thoughts. Even if you're consciously thinking the whole time that you're awake, which you're not, which would be mentally exhausting. Even if you were, it still in the long run wouldn't add up, right? Because a whole lot of not involuntary, but let's say actions that we can just do habitually, we can kind of do them unconsciously, things we do over and over again, because human beings, us being creatures of habit, most of the things that we do, we don't need to think consciously, and that's by design. Human beings are designed to conserve energy. We're designed to conserve having to move, having to think too much, having to do too much. This is why people who have that personal initiative, people who are those go-getters, people who can go make things happen, they are anomalies. They stand out from the average person simply because human beings are wired to not be like this. We are wired to not do things. And this is why having that habit of doing things now, like I talked about a couple weeks ago, will separate you from the average person. But what I said in Work on Your Game in the book is that 85% of our thoughts are both habitual and unconscious, meaning we're doing them over and over again and we're not thinking about them. So since 85% of the things that you're thinking, you're not even paying attention to, you need to take control of them, and then you can stop paying attention to them again. So take control of them, get them going the way that you want them to go, and then you can stop paying attention to them again, because now they're working on your behalf. It's kind of like if you run a business and you have some people who are working for you at your business. Hopefully you want to get to a point, hopefully in a short period of time, where you don't have to be there every day looking over that person's shoulder to make sure they're doing the right thing. You have taught them the right things. You trust them to do the right thing. So you have the peace of mind that even if I don't go to this person's house and watch them work remotely from their computer, or even if I don't come to the office one day and they're at the office working, that they will probably do what they're supposed to do and things will run smoothly without me physically being there. That's the same way. Any of you who has any employees and you have them in this position, you understand this, right? You want to do the same thing with your unconscious thoughts. So you do pay attention to them for some period of time so you can take control of them and understand what they're doing and teach them what they need to be doing. And then at some point it can become a hands-off situation and let them handle it on their own because you've trained them and taught them properly. I mean, it's the same way like when your kid turns 18 or 25 or 30, and whenever it is they leave from under your roof and they go out into the world, hopefully you as the parent, you believe, all right, I gave this kid some home training. I taught them right from wrong. I gave them the principles that they need. Whatever they're going to do from this point, they're going to do. But hopefully a lot of what they learn from me, they'll be taken out into the world. Hopefully, I mean, given that you gave them some good stuff that they learned, we're assuming here. Your unconscious thoughts are occurring much more than your conscious thoughts, which means these unconscious thoughts have much more effect on your psyche than the things that you consciously think. See, you think. And anyone who's read anything about sales or persuasion, you may have heard something along the lines of what I'm about to say right now. You may think that the conscious thoughts, the ones that you know about, those are the ones that allow you to make decisions. That you make your decisions based on this conscious thinking, and you're weighing things and you're looking at this option, looking at that option, and you critically think about it, and then you decide, and then you do something. You think most of the decisions you make in life are based on that type of process, right? You know that you're thinking about it. You think about the fact that you're thinking about it. Then you make a decision that you do something wrong. The majority of our decision making is not made by our conscious thoughts. It's made by our unconscious thoughts. But then our conscious mind comes barging into the situation and forces itself to be heard, forces itself to believe. We fool ourselves into believing that most of our decisions are made by conscious thinking when they are not. Most of our decisions are made by unconscious thinking. Then our conscious thoughts come in and come up with some reason that allows us to sleep at night, that allows us to explain logically to another person and to ourselves why we made the decisions that we made. Many of you have probably heard the saying that people make decisions, or they purchase. In sales, they say this: people buy emotionally and then they justify logically. Your emotions are connected to your subconscious mind, these unconscious thoughts that are going through your mind. The logic is your conscious mind, the stuff that you can think about, the things that you can explain, the things that lead you to asking critical questions of yourself and of others. Those are your conscious thoughts, and they are much slower than the unconscious. Unconsciously, you make decisions very quickly. So if you know anyone, or you have ever in your life been in a position where you were taking really long to make a decision, you were hemming and hawing and going back and forth, or you ever dealt with someone who was doing this and it was getting really annoying because they were taking forever to make a decision, that's because their conscious mind got in the way. Unconsciously, they already decided what they were going to do. You know what is really going on most of the time when someone's taking a long time to make a decision? Let me tell you what they're really doing. They're trying to figure out a logical way to explain to you what their unconscious mind has already decided. That's gold right there. Now I'll let you marinate on that for a couple seconds. You can rewind it and listen to it again later. Since these unconscious thoughts have more effect on your psyche than your conscious thoughts, let me ask you a couple questions. You ever had and I'll show you how this works. You ever had a parent or a boss or a coach or anyone around you who was always saying some of the same statements every single day? I mean, the exact same phrases over and over and over again. If you play a sport, I'm sure you've had a coach who did this. If you grew up around a parent or multiple parents for several years, I mean, let's say your whole upbringing as a child, I'm sure there was plenty of statements that those parents made over and over and over again. If you think about them often, and if you think about it long enough, many of them will start coming to mind right now simply because you heard it so many times, right? And you still remember them to this very day. Whatever that person used to say, whatever those statements were, you still remember them now. Of course you do. Now, here's the simple thing. Anything that you are saying to yourself, the same way someone else said it to you, anything that you say to yourself consistently enough, continuously, that means over a extended period of time, and you're doing it in some type of systemized way, meaning every single day is a system. Doing something every hour is a system. Doing something once a week is a system. Whatever it's going to be, it will eventually bake itself into your subconscious thoughts, meaning you'll be thinking that thing even when you're not thinking about the fact that you're thinking that thing. I hope I didn't lose you on that one. All you need is a systemized set of statements that you say to yourself every single day. Some people call these systemized statements, you may have heard them referred to as affirmations. I call them auto-suggestion. These are the thoughts that take over your mind. First of all, when you're not thinking anything, any moment when you're not consciously thinking, these thoughts are running in your mind and you're not even aware of it. And these are the thoughts that take over your mind when your mind needs an idea to hold on to, such as if you ever run into a crisis or emergency situation, whatever your unconscious train of thought is, that's really what's going to take over when it's time for you to act. See, when you don't have time to think and instinct needs to take over, the instinct that takes over will be whatever has already been planted in your unconscious thought train, already been planted in your subconscious mind. Author Tim Ferriss is the person I first heard say that you do not rise to the level of a challenge. You fall to the level of your training. And he probably got it from someone else, but I don't remember who it was, so I'll credit him. Whatever you're trained, the training that I'm referring to here is whatever has been planted in your subconscious mind. Whatever's in your subconscious, that's the level that you're going to drop to anytime you're challenged, anytime you get into a fight or flight situation, anytime your instinct has to take over and you have to do something. Whatever you do is based on what's ever in your subconscious. And understand that even though it's subconscious, you're not thinking about it, you can take control of it by first of all becoming conscious of it. I talk about this in my book, Work on Your Game. And I also talk about it and go even deeper into it, how to control it, how to program it, exactly what's going to go in that program and how to work that program in my book called The Mental Workbook, which you can get at workonmygame.com/workbook. That again is the mental workbook. Point number 3. Today's topic is mental cardio, how to do it, why to do it, how to control it, and how to make it work for you. Point number 3, you must help yourself with your ancillary decisions. Or ancillary. Is it ancillary or ancillary? Either way, help yourself with those decisions. What's the definition of this word? Ancillary or ancillary, whichever one it is. It's providing necessary support to the primary activities or operation of an organization, institution, industry, or system. In other words, the ancillary decisions that you're making means don't make decisions that will counteract the work that you are doing on your mental cardio. That's basically it. That's it. It should be a period right there. Do not do things that will undo the work that you're already doing as far as your mental cardio. Let's bring it back to the physical so you can understand this. I'll give it a little bit more flesh to this. For example, any of you who goes to the gym on a regular basis, or you do some type of physical cardio on a regular basis, you understand without anyone explaining to you that eating fried chicken for dinner, ice cream for dessert, drinking soda after your workout, or alcohol that night is probably going to hurt or counteract all the physical work that you did in the gym or at the park or on the bike that day. You understand that, right? That's an ancillary decision. We'll settle on ancillaries. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Don't matter. It's my show. The ancillary decisions that you make to your physical workouts are the food that you put in your body, the amount of rest that you're getting, the energy that you are engaging with. All of these things are your physical posture. All of these are the ancillary decisions that go with the workout. In other words, if you make bad decisions in the kitchen, bad decisions with what you eat and what you drink, even though you're working out hard every single day, you're canceling out what you're doing in the gym with what you're doing in the kitchen. Those are ancillary decisions. So just working out by itself and eating junk is not going to help you as much as if you worked out and then you ate the right stuff. And again, you don't need to hire a nutritionist to know what the right stuff is. You already know what the right stuff is. Maybe you can hire a nutritionist to help you with your discipline, because that's really what you need. It's not that you need the information. You just need to be more disciplined. And this is what the show gives you every single day. So ancillary decisions when it comes to your mental cardio. Let's talk about the mental cardio kryptonite that many of us engage in. Because those studies show when it comes to the way human beings think, we respond more readily and more consistently to negative, what's the word that I'm escaping me? We respond more to negative than we do positive. In other words, if I told you a way to go make $10, you might do it. Maybe 50% of you might go do that thing to make the $10. But if I told you a way to prevent losing $10, 90% of you would do that. All right, so we are more attuned and we are more readily moved to action by avoiding the negative than attracting or going to get the positive. So I'm going to tell you some mental cardio kryptonite that you may already engage in, this will get your attention more than if I told you the positive things you should do. That's just the way that it works. All right. Mental cardio kryptonite, negative thoughts. The negative thoughts that you conjure up in your own mind based on what might happen in the future, based on what already happened in the past, based on what's going on right now, and you're making it bigger than it actually is because you're dwelling on the negative. Negative thoughts are mental cardio kryptonite. In other words, all the positive things you do for your mind that you're going to get out of the mental workbook, the more negative thoughts you engage in, you're canceling out all that work that you did. Negative people. Negative people bring their own negative thoughts, their negative words, their negative energies, the things that you probably don't want to be engaged in, some type of activities that they're doing that you don't want to be doing, their habits, all of those things rub off on you. All right. You become, we know the law of association. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. Doesn't matter how many people it is. You become the average of anyone that you engage with. You engage with a person who's negative, a little bit of their negativity is going to rub off on you. Now, how well your mindset is conditioned will determine how much rubs off on you and how long it stays there. If your mind is really, really well conditioned, then you'll be able to sustain a little bit of negative energy from a negative person. If you have to deal with them for an hour or a day or a week or a year, you'll be able to let it brush off. You'll be able to brush it off or let it bounce off of you simply because you're in such great mental shape. But if you're not in great mental shape, their negativity will start affecting you in a negative way immediately. The same way somebody who's in really great physical shape can eat some fried chicken, they can eat some ice cream, they can eat some Rita's water ice, they can eat some candy, and they'll be all right. Why? Because they're in such great physical shape that one bad day is not going to destroy them. Now, somebody who's not in great physical shape, they eat some fried chicken, or is immediately going to show. It's going straight to the hips, the back of the arms, the thighs. For women, and for men, it's going straight to the stomach. All right, that's what happened immediately because you're already not in great shape. But if you're in great shape, you can withstand a little bit of it. So the better mental shape you're in, the better you'll be able to deal with negative people. And if you're not in great mental shape, when negative people come around you, they're going to feel like they're at home because you may be in the same space. It's mental cardio. Helplessness is another piece of mental kryptonite. Y'all know what kryptonite is. That's the stuff that made Superman not as strong as he was. It takes away his superpower. So anyway, so in other words, kryptonite is the stuff that makes you weaker. All right, you want to avoid kryptonite. So your mental cardio, another piece of mental cardio kryptonite is helplessness, believing you can't do anything about a certain situation. We just talked about 2 days ago, having a can-do attitude in episode 1338. Wasting time is mental kryptonite. Not taking advantage of the time that is available to you, being that we're all on the clock and have limited time. A lack of personal initiative, not doing anything with the opportunity of time that you have right now. That is mental kryptonite. All of these work against the cardio that you've been doing. So once you start doing your mental cardio, understand that that doesn't mean that the job is over. That's not all you need to do. Same way that as long as you go to the gym doesn't mean you're going to be in great shape. You got to make some good decisions when you go to the grocery store. You got to make some good decisions when somebody offers you a drink. You got to make some smart decisions when you see all the pastries and the cakes and the bad foods on the table at the buffet. You got to make some smart decisions to assist what you've already been doing in the gym. That's the same thing with your mindset. And again, with the mental workbook, I'll show you exactly how all of this works in even more detail than what I'm giving you today, why it works, and exactly what you need to do to get it working in your favor and keep it working in your favor. As we recap today's topic, which is how to perform mental cardio. This is the first chapter of my book, Work on Your Game. I talked about this in episode 826, getting and staying in game shape. I talked about doing it mentally and physically. Here, I'm telling you about how to do it mentally. Physical cardio doesn't need an explanation, but mental cardio does, because we can't see our mindsets. We can see our bodies. So you can see when your physical workouts are paying off. It's hard to tell sometimes when our mental workouts are paying off, but that's where I come in and solve this problem. Point number one, the fundamental understanding. This is not a one-time thing. Cardio is something you must do continuously, meaning it never ends at any point in life, and consistently, meaning you don't just do it randomly when you feel like it and when you think about it, but via some type of repeatable system. Anyone listening to this who's in good physical shape, you didn't just work out for some period of time and never work out again, because you would lose your physical shape. And you don't just work out whenever you remember to do so. It's probably part of your day-to-day life. It's part of your lifestyle. You don't even have to write it down because you know you're going to do it. Point number two, take control of your unconscious train of thoughts. These are the thoughts going in your mind even when you're not thinking about them. They're happening even while you sleep, and they occur much more often than your conscious thoughts, which means they are much more important. They have much more impact on what you do than even the things that you think you are thinking. If you ever had a parent, a boss, a coach who always said the same things all the time, you still remember them to this day. There's the same thing that happens with your subconscious mind. Anything that you say to yourself, often enough, your subconscious mind will pick up on it and it will keep repeating it back to you even while you are sleeping. Therefore, it is very important you take control of what these statements are. In my book, The Mental Workbook, I explain how to do that, how to create those statements. I'll walk you through crafting those statements, what exactly they need to be about, and how you're going to deliver them to yourself on a day-to-day basis. Again, that's at workonmygame.com/workbook. Point number three, help yourself with your ancillary decisions. The definition of ancillary: providing necessary support to the primary activities or operations of a system. What that means is the same with your physical. If you're working out in the gym every single day, you know you can destroy your workout effect by eating the wrong things. The same thing in mindset. You can destroy whatever you're doing to help your mindset, like using the mental workbook, by engaging in negative thoughts with negative people, in helplessness, not having a can-do attitude, wasting time, or having a lack of personal initiative. They all work against the cardio that you've already been doing. So make sure that once you start doing your cardio, you make the right decisions to support the cardio. All right, don't counteract it. Don't have your mind and your body making, or your unconscious and your conscious thoughts going to war against each other, because your unconscious is going to win if you didn't know any better. Work on your game. Dre all day.